As the pulse of modern living quickens in this fast-moving world, the problems of American life grow more and more complex. Particularly do our police departments throughout the land carry a heavy share of the many tasks that challenge every one of us from day to day. Modern law enforcement and protection cover many phases of action. The more violent crimes require the attention of specialists. But there are other problems, not quite so grave, that call for a different type of handling. Step inside, won't you? Here's the file on the Hartwell case, Burton. You see, our ultimate aim is to free the police department and leave matters such as these to you.
Well, we've had a good start, haven't we? And after all, as a representative of the Interfaith Religious Council, my job is to help prevent situations like the Hartwell incident.
Of course, we're overburdened as it is with real criminal matters.
During the short period that our educational and religious groups have worked with the police, we've kept a lot of youngsters from making more serious mistakes.
Our efforts are worth it if we can save just one youngster from getting mixed up.
Yes. Now let's have all the facts in this Hartwell case.
Apparently the boy comes from a very good family. They live in a very nice home over in the southwest section of the city.
Frank, come back here a minute, dear.
All right, Helen, what is it now? I'll be late again today. Why do you always have to think of last-minute things?
If you weren't so busy with your own thoughts, there wouldn't be so much fuss around here.
Daddy, please don't forget your promise.
Oh, now, don't worry, darling. I've already ordered that new sweater and scarf combination. Do I ever disappoint you?
No, Daddy.
Frank, yesterday you promised to bring home the supplies from the 5 and 10 for the Joneses' barbecue Saturday. That's tomorrow, remember? Are you going to forget again today?
Why don't you stop nagging, Helen? I've told you that I'll take care of everything. Bye now. Now, is that all? Can I go to work now?
Oh, Dad, I don't mean to delay you, but what about my temporary driver's permit?
We'll talk about that some other time.
But, Frank, you promised the boy.
I know.
Then why do you keep putting it off week after week? This is important to Bill, though it may not mean much to you.
Now, look here, all of you. This is the limit. Can't I ever get to work in the morning without holding a convention? And as for you, Bill, I'll admit that I promised to apply for your driver's permit. But if you want to know the truth, I don't think you're entitled to it.
Why not? What have I done?
Nothing. That's just the trouble. Nothing. You're told to mow the lawn. Do you do it? No. I asked you to polish the car. You do a half-baked job or not at all, or when it suits your own convenience.
Frank, please.
And what's more...
But, Dad, I'm doing the best I can. I've got homework and other things on my mind. And besides, a fella's got to have some time for fun, too.
Sure, I know. You've always got alibis. And you, dear, you certainly are no help. Always backing him up when I'm trying to make a man of him. Now, goodbye, everybody. I'll bring the barbecue things at noon. And as for you, get the cellar cleaned. It's about time that we put the tool shelves up and got the workbench in shape. I'll see you all later. And please, let's have a little peace and quiet around here. Thank you, dear. Goodbye.
Mom, you don't think Dad was serious about my driver's permit? He wouldn't let me down, would he?
Go on into the living room, Bill. I want to talk to you a little later. Here, Sarah. Run down to the grocer's and get these things for me.
Now?
Yes, Sarah, now. In the kitchen, you'll find a box of eggs. A couple of them are cracked. Tell Mr. Miller to exchange them.
Okay, Mother.
Well, Bill, did you get any ideas about your Father's Day present?
Sure, Mom, see?
How much have you saved so far?
$3.75.
Another $2 and you're all set?
Sure, another $2. And I can pick that up in no time. Gosh, Mom, what's the matter with Dad? Why is he always picking on me lately?
Maybe he's just upset a little.
He never used to be that way.
Well, you know how people get sometimes. Besides, your dad has your welfare at heart. I know he has.
But I don't think he likes me. Or what is it?
I'm sure you're only imagining things.
Gosh, Mom, I almost forgot. I got to go to work.
The cellar?
Well, no, that is not yet. Miss Carter promised me 75 cents if I'd wash her car.
But, Bill, suppose you don't get the cellar finished in time.
Don't worry, Mom. I've got it all figured out. And besides, she said if I changed the tire, she'd give me an extra 2 bits.
Oh, Bill, be sure to change to your real old clothes.
Don't worry, Mom. I will. Gosh, I forgot to call Arthur Franklin. Cut the fooling around, will you, Art? I asked you to help me, not play games.
Did your pop get you the beginner's permit?
Nah, first it's yes, then it's no. Then it's yes, then no. Gosh, I don't know where I stand.
But we are going to have the car tomorrow for the church picnic, aren't we?
Yeah, but you'll have to drive if I don't get my permit.
So I'll drive. My license is good.
Just tell the kids we'd pick them up.
They're counting on it.
Boy, we'll look pretty important driving to the picnic.
That'll be half the fun. Say, I got to be getting home for lunch. You coming over to the ball field this afternoon?
No, I'm supposed to clean the cellar. Or Pop will raise the roof.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow then.
Okay, I'll call you when I'm ready.
Okay.
So long, and thanks.
Bill, the cellar. You better get started.
I'll be through in a minute. Hello, Dad. Look, I'm getting along swell. Isn't this a good place for the newspapers and the magazines? Junkman ought to pay us a couple of bucks for them.
It should be finished by now.
I know, but you see...
No, I don't see.
Dad, if I could only explain. I had to do a little job for Mrs. Carter.
So Mrs. Carter's work is more important than mine.
Dad, you don't understand. There's something special I'm saving for.
I've lost all patience with you, and I've warned you time and again. Well, there won't be any more warnings. Maybe this will be a lesson for you. You can't have the car tomorrow for the picnic.
But, Dad, I promised my friends. How can I tell them? Aw, shucks. Sunday School Juniors Picnic, Saturday, July 10th, Woodland Park. Sports, games, baseball, prizes. Free dinner at noon. No car. What a deal. Breaks his promise. I can use this money for myself. I'll show him. Hello, Art. Don't come over tomorrow until I phone you. No, there's no change in our plans, and nothing went wrong. Right, tomorrow.
Are you sure, Sarah, you don't want to go to the picnic?
Oh, I'm sure. I'd much rather go to the barbecue with you and Daddy.
Oh, that's the Blakes calling for us now. Oh, Frank! Frank, hurry, dear.
All right, I'm ready. Let's go. And Helen, if I get talking to Blake, try not to interrupt if you can help. I'm trying to work out a little business deal with him.
Yes, I know. Don't worry. Now, don't be too late getting home, Bill.
I won't, Mom. Goodbye.
Come, Sarah.
And remember, no car.
Hello, Art. It's me. Hike it over on the double.
we starting so early for? I was just getting up when you called.
Never mind, let's shove off.
But we don't have to meet the other kids for an hour.
We'll wait, but not here. Come on, step on it.
What'd you make me stop for?
I'll take over now.
But you didn't get your permit. Or did you?
Stop yakking like an old lady. You give a guy the jitters.
But what if you get stopped?
Who's getting stopped? And for what? Come on, change places. Jumping catfish.
Let's see what we did.
Sit tight. Didn't you hear what we did? Shut the door. You get out here and meet the kids and go on to the picnic. I'll be there later.
But aren't we going to report the accident?
Who knows about it but us?
I don't want any part of this.
You will be part of it if you don't shut up. And you don't know anything, see?
I never saw you act like this, Bill. What are you afraid of?
Skip it, Art. Just get out and get going. And remember, not a word to anybody.
What's that noise?
Never mind, dear. Run on upstairs. What's that hammering?
Bill! Bill! Is that you down there?
Yeah, it's me.
Come on up here.
I wonder if anything could have gone wrong.
How's that? What's wrong?
Hi, have a good time?
Bill, how come you home before us?
Well, you see, I decided the last minute to stay home so I could finish the job on the shelves.
Why all this sudden enthusiasm for work?
What's wrong if I do some work? It's wrong if I do, it's wrong if I don't.
Frank, why are you so unfair to Bill?
I tell you, that boy is acting strangely.
Well, I think it's you who's acting strangely. This peculiar treatment of yours isn't doing our son any good, no matter what your hidden reasons or motives might be.
Now look here, Helen. There's only one of us can set the policy around here. We can't have two generals. It's either you or me.
And besides, the fellow's gotta have time for some fun, too.
Sure, I know. You've always got alibis. And you, dear, you certainly are no help. Always backing him up when I'm trying to make a man of him.
Gosh, Mom, what's the matter with Dad? Why is he always picking on me lately?
Maybe he's just out of sorts a little.
Maybe this will be a lesson for you. You can't have the car tomorrow for the picnic.
Dad, I promised the kids. How can I tell them? Mom!
Must have been some dream, son. Terry and the Pirates or Superman.
Much worse. Even Pop was in it.
Well, you'd better sleep a little later tomorrow.
I can't, Mom. I'll be late for Sunday school.
Oh, how silly. I almost forgot tomorrow's Sunday. I tell you what, I'll wake you in time and we'll have hot waffles for breakfast. How's that?
Swell idea. Mom, with melted butter and maple syrup like last week, only double it.
Sure, double it.
How do you do? Is this the Hartwell residence?
Yes?
I'm Lieutenant Van Sicklen of the police department. I'd like to speak to Mr. Hartwell, please.
Certainly. Come in, please. Oh, Frank.
Yeah?
This is Lieutenant Van Sicklen.
How do you do?
You're Frank Hartwell?
Yes.
Your automobile was involved in an accident yesterday, and it wasn't reported to the police.
Impossible. You're mistaken.
Well, it could be an error, but I doubt it.
Well, that's ridiculous. My car wasn't out of the garage yesterday.
Take it easy, Frank.
If you don't mind, dear, I'll handle this.
Well, someone drove it. I'm not accusing you, but a witness reported 2 young boys in the front seat.
That's ridiculous.
That same witness took down your license number after a crash on Willow Drive. I've just come from the police laboratory. Samples of paint from the damaged car and your rear bumper match identically.
Bill, come here. When were you snooping around my garage?
We checked your car for evidence at 6 this morning. Lose no time, you know.
Did you drive the car yesterday?
Me? Yesterday? The car? No, it wasn't me.
Who was it?
Nobody, I don't know. What are you blaming me for? I don't even know what you're talking about.
You're lying and you know it.
You're always hounding me. Why don't you leave me alone?
This doesn't look good, Mr. Hartwell. There's more at stake here than appears on the surface.
What do you mean?
That boy of yours, he's tied up in a knot. I'd like to have a talk with him. Do you mind?
No. No, of course not. Helen, would you get Billy, please? All this beats me.
So you see, Billy, there's still some paint left on that bumper. Come on now. You needn't be afraid to confide in me.
Well, okay then, the car was out. But it wasn't me who did the driving because I don't have a license.
I see. Who did do the driving, Billy?
He's a sort of friend of mine.
And you don't want to give him away, huh?
You wouldn't want me to snitch, would you?
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it snitching. It's just telling the truth.
Okay then, it was Arthur Franklin. I've known him for years. He's all right, but...
I think I understand everything, son. We'll talk about this some more. Take it easy.
How did I know that Bill was saving up his money to buy me a present?
Would that make any difference in the way an understanding father should treat his son?
No, of course not. It shouldn't. What a fool I've been. Fine father I am.
I tried to explain to you, Frank.
Now this thing with the police.
What time is it?
Nearly 2.
We promised we'd be down at police headquarters by 2:30. Come on, Frank.
I think your plan for handling the Hartwell situation is most intelligent.
It's time for them now. Send Mr. and Mrs. Hartwell in, Brown. Oh, come in, folks. How are you, Mr. and Mrs. Hartwell? I'm glad to see you.
Thank you.
I'd like you to know Mr. Burton.
Mr. Burton, how do you do? I'm glad to know you.
Won't you folks sit down, please?
Thank you.
The boy.
It was all my fault. I drove the car, and I caused the accident, too. Gosh, I don't know why I let myself tell all those lies.
He's really a good boy. Never been in any trouble, and he certainly didn't mean harm. Please try to understand.
That's exactly what we're trying to do. Understanding is the answer to all this. Folks, Mr. Burton is a member of the Interfaith Religious Council. He and I have been working together. We've found in problems like yours, all we need is a chance to meet and talk it out. It's good for the soul. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going out for a while and leave the four of you alone.
You know, it's only been a few years since we've realized how to handle matters like this. The real causes of law violations are often controllable, and real trouble can be nipped in the bud. As a religious counselor, I can take up where the police leave off. In cases like yours, young man, try to look at it this way. You really violated one of the commandments, in that you bore false witness against your neighbor. In this instance, your friend, Arthur Franklin. But worse than that, you were untrue to yourself, a far more serious error. Youngsters in particular should feel free and without fear to consult with their parents. Lies, even little white lies, never pay off. Son, would you mind stepping outside now? As for you, Mr. and Mrs. Hartwell, I'd like to suggest that we might well consider a newer commandment. Honor thy children. By closing your hearts and channels of understanding, you see how easy it is to break the bonds of confidence between yourselves and your God-given offspring. The lies that Bill concocted were born of frustration. He has suffered because of them. And so have you, Mr. Hartwell. Above all, let us be true to ourselves. Then, as surely as the night follows the day, will we be true to each other.
Hello, everybody. I'm Skip Alzheimer. Welcome to our AV Geeks Lunchtime show. It's episode 185. We've been doing this 185 times since mid-March, and I've had a great time. I'm really enjoying this. So, you know, there's a downside to this, of course, is that because I can't get out in the world and do screenings, this is my only outlet. But it's been great, and you guys have been great, so thank you so much for joining us. We just watched Unto Thyself Be True, which is a family film, which is a religious film that would have been maybe shown on television, definitely shown in churches, maybe in schools. Sometimes they would sneak over into schools. Somebody would bring a film in because they felt like it was important to talk about. And, you know, with the idea that it's like, well, they're not really talking about, like, a specific religion, like Lutheranism. They're talking about religion in general. So we're not excluding the Jews. We're not excluding Catholics or Protestants, because that was really basically the three groups that they were worried about. You know, not worrying about, of course, all the other folks that are out there, including atheists. That became an issue later. So, interesting film. And the Christian or religious film market was pretty vibrant. There was a lot of money being made there. It wasn't just for their mission. It really was to kind of, some of these organizations made money. Now, some of them were nonprofits, but they were still charging rental fees, and they still were charging, you know, purchase fees and all that stuff, and, you know, some money was being made. All right. So, in case you don't know, I collect old educational films and show them, and that was an old educational film. This next one we have is great. This was donated to me from a college, Queens College, and I don't remember where Queens College is. Let me see if I can find out on the can. Queens College. Every once in a while, a film department gets rid of their films because they're like, you know what, we haven't watched these in forever, and there's a closet or a room that we need. So let's get rid of them, throw them out. And then somebody says, like, wait a minute, maybe we can find some place we can donate it, and then I get a phone call or an email. And then I end up with 200, 300 more films. So Queens College, yeah, I don't know where that is. I can look it up. But anyways, they gave me a bunch of their films, and it was a wide variety of different topics that were pretty great. So this one is Egg Grades, A Matter of Quality. Enjoy.
Grade A, double A, extra large, large, medium. That's what we see in the grocery store. But what does it mean? And why do we need those markings? To find out, let's take a look at today's egg business and see how eggs get from the hen to you. Modern egg production and packing is a big business and a very efficient one. Here, in a typical egg-producing facility, there are 270,000 working hens, 9 houses, each holding 30,000 birds. This breed of chickens lays a white-shelled egg. Some other breeds lay eggs with brown shells. Contrary to myth, there is no other difference between white and brown eggs, in quality, in nutrition, in taste, or in anything else. This modern plant holds the hen's working life to about 13 months. In that time, she is expected to lay some 250 eggs. Then the whole flock will be replaced by a new young flock, which, in its turn, will go through a 13-month laying cycle. The laying hens are shipped here from pullet farms at about 20 weeks of age. The pullet farm, typically, is a separate business in itself, devoted just to the production of laying hens. Another separate business is the production of feed. Proper nutrition for the laying hens is important for high-quality egg production. The feed, brought here in bulk tank trucks, is pumped into holding bins at the laying houses. Each of the 180 tons of feed consumed here weekly has been computer balanced by the feed company for correct nutritional content. Like any other business, the egg business these days takes a lot of paperwork. Records on production, feeding, culling, costs, profits or losses. A far cry from the days when the farm wife kept a few hens for egg money. And in this production facility, no one gathers eggs. It's all mechanized. Each egg is on its way to packaging only moments after it's laid. Here, the conveyor belts in each laying house feed onto a main conveyor or gathering line. As the eggs make the transfer, they're counted. On an average day, some 10 to 13,000 dozen eggs are funneled from each laying house into the processing plant. Once there, they're less than a half hour away from final packaging. The first step in the processing line is a sorting area, where eggs with broken shells are removed. Then they go into the egg washer, where they're thoroughly cleaned and sanitized. Next comes a most important operation, mask handling. Only clean, sound, high-quality eggs are permitted to move through. Workers remove those with checks or cracks in the shell, those with odd-shaped or rough shells, as well as eggs with blood or meat spots or stains on the shell. In a modern, closely controlled operation like this, it is possible to produce uniformly high-quality eggs. Only the defective ones need be removed. The rest will measure up to the U.S. Department of Agriculture's quality standards for Grade A or AA. The sizes will vary, however. That's because hens at the beginning of their egg-laying career will lay small eggs, then progressively larger eggs until by the time they're retired, they may be laying mostly extra-large eggs and sometimes even jumbo. Sizing, too, is done by machinery. As the eggs travel onto the scale, the heavier ones, like the jumbos and extra-large, trip the scales first. Each egg, really, is weighed individually. When it trips the proper scale, off it goes into its correct packing line. Eggs are packed according to 6 official U.S. Department of Agriculture weight classes, based on minimum weights per dozen. Jumbos, which weigh 30 ounces per dozen. Extra large, which weigh 27 ounces per dozen. Large, the most commonly seen size, which weigh 24 ounces per dozen. That's 1.5 pounds. Medium, which weigh 21 ounces a dozen. Small, which weigh 18 ounces per dozen. And finally, peewee, which weigh 15 ounces per dozen. The sizes you're most likely to see in the grocery store are extra large, large, and medium. Now the eggs are packed into the cartons you see in the store. Again, it's all automatic. Then it's off to a refrigerated holding room to await shipment to market. The whole process, from hen to the cooler, has taken less than an hour. But the eggs are not quite ready for shipment yet. There's one more step. This plant uses the U.S. Department of Agriculture egg grading service. This service is voluntary, and plants using it pay a fee to cover the cost. When plants use this service, the grader makes careful checks of plant sanitation and operating procedures. He'll make sure that the eggs have been cooled to the proper temperature. And he will check not only the temperature of the cooling room, but also its humidity, since both are important in maintaining the high quality of the eggs. From here to when you take the eggs from the grocer's refrigerated case, perhaps within 24 hours of the time they were laid, they will be kept cool. That's the secret of maintaining the quality. The USDA grader checks the quality and weight of representative samples of this lot of eggs to make sure that they measure up to the words on the label, U.S. Grade A or AA, large, medium, or small. The USDA grader checks the interior quality of the eggs by looking at them through a candling light. Once all eggs were candled this way, but the mass scanner has replaced this procedure, except for the checking performed by the grader. The grader can tell a lot by looking at the egg this way: the size of the air cell, the condition of the yolk, the thickness of the white. All of these things tell him the quality of the egg. With the eggs broken out, you can see what the grader sees, what high-quality eggs look like. On the left is a U.S. Grade AA egg, and on the right is a U.S. Grade A. Both have the high, well-rounded yolk and the thick, upstanding white that mean high quality. The white spreads out very little. These are the kind you want to use for frying and poaching. You don't see many Grade B eggs for sale at retail anymore. Although just as nutritious as the higher grades, the Grade B egg has a flatter yolk, and the white is not as thick. It spreads out over a greater area. Most Grade B and other undergrade eggs go to egg processing plants, and they're eventually used in products like mayonnaise, noodles, and baked goods. The white material you often see in fresh eggs is called the chalaza cord. It anchors the yolk in place and is a natural and normal part of the egg. The grader checks the egg weights on a highly accurate scale to make sure that carton markings are correct. The weight of the egg does not relate to its quality. You can buy Grade A or AA eggs in any size. Contrary to popular belief, bigger does not mean better. Large eggs can be low quality too. When you see this grade shield, you will know that the quality and the size marked on the carton have been certified by a USDA grader. Look for it the next time you're shopping.
That was both fascinating and horrifying. I definitely like assembly line footage of eggs. The idea that chickens lay for 13 months and then are replaced is, it's pretty horrifying. It is. I grew up on a farm, so I know, and we had chickens, so I know where eggs come from and what happens to chickens. But what is it? What was it called? The split psychrometer. Yeah, that was awesome. I like very specific lab equipment. One of the things you probably noticed is like, wow, the yolks look green, and that is one of the problems with color correction. Is in me trying to reduce the red fade of the color, because what happened is this is Eastman color or ectochrome, and so the color, the cyans and the blues start to go away, and so you're left with reds and purples and magentas. So I can do a little bit of tweaking of the colors to get them to kind of reduce that red down, so it's not so, not so crazy. But what happens is things like sky turns greenish and egg yolks turn greenish. So it's something that I have to, in post, I have to use a program to kind of go in and tweak the colors in a certain way. So there you go. Green eggs, as written about in a popular book. Okay, so that might have been triggering for some people. Well, this one might be triggering for some people as well. This was a film that I got from basically somebody raided a dumpster in Los Angeles from a company that made films that went out of business or basically dumped their inventory. And so it's Goal Productions, and so that's where I got a Tire Rigging Demo, which is a great film. The Urinalysis, the U.S. Air Force Urinalysis film. But this one is there's two films, but this one is the better of the two. This is Terrorism, a Survivable Threat. And this was probably 80s, so this is when I think the Marine base, was it in Lebanon, Beirut? Yeah. I think that was bombed. But this is a cautionary tale for personal attacks against U.S. military employees that are abroad. And it's good. It's good for what it is. But, yeah. Here we go. Terrorism, a Survivable Threat.
All right, men, that covers the use of deadly force. If there aren't any questions, draw your weapons, head for the ready room, and take your posts. Oh, one more thing. Since you men were on last, you'll notice that we've laid some new concrete barriers in the area in front of the ambassador's office. Be extra careful on post. The embassy has received some new threat warnings, and they're checking it out now. Okay, that's it. But do me one favor. You're all professionals, so take care of yourselves, because I want to see every one of you back in this room for the next briefing.
Excuse me, Gunny.
Myers?
Are you going into town after duty hours?
I thought your nights were filled with more excitement than just driving around with some staff NCO.
Oh, come on. I've got an image to maintain. Can I hitch a ride?
Meet me in the parking area at 1600.
Thanks.
And 1600 is when I'm leaving.
Right.
Look, Mommy, Rambo.
That's wonderful, Emily, but would you please go wash your hands for dinner? Honey, dinner's ready. Sweetie.
Barb, I want you to take a look at this new deadbolt lock. Now, I went to a lot of trouble to put this in, so I want you to use it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when you go out, I just want you to lock the bolt in place. Simple?
Piece of cake. Your talents never cease to amaze me. Now, let's eat. So, is that all the security stuff left to do?
Well, let's see. Deadbolt, window locks, exterior lights. Yeah, I guess that's it. What's for dinner?
It's very special. It's a secret, honey. You're gonna love it.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the quiet jungle.
Base to Unit 4.
Yeah, this is Unit 4.
Yeah, Mitchell, stop by here after your last pickup. I want you to meet one of the new guys. Maybe you can show them a few driving techniques on your way home.
Sure, Sarge. I'll be there in a couple of minutes.
Roger. Thanks, Prime. Base out.
All right, Unit 4 clear. 'Cause the lion sleeps tonight. Pom, pom, pom.
For the mail room to pick up. But be sure one of your people signs out on each piece. If a bomb were to get through, it wouldn't matter who screwed up.
No problem, Master Chief. You know, you're a good teacher.
Well, if you do something a long time, it gets easier. Your husband picking you up this afternoon?
Yes, he is. Dave and I are really lucky being stationed together. There's so much to see and do here. It's a really interesting place.
Most areas of overseas tours are interesting places to be. A foreign assignment is a chance to see things you've never seen before. Enjoy new experiences. Get a taste of a new culture.
Honey, what is this?
Eggplant parmesan.
Have I had it before?
Yes.
Did I like it?
Yes, it's your favorite. And yours too, Emily.
It's a time when you can enjoy yourself and make new and lasting friends.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Limiting yourself to an activity within your own duty area is wasting a great opportunity.
Man, who was that girl?
Oh, just some jogger, Myers.
Oh, come on, tell me, who was she? Did you get a number? Oh, man, she was a beaut.
Yet in some parts of the world, terrorism is a daily threat,
Well, when are you going to set her up?
especially for U.S. military personnel.
When you're old enough, Myers.
If you forget that,
Oh, it's a beautiful day.
your one good
Sure
day
is.
could be your last.
Yeah. What do you say we take a drive in the country?
Sounds great.
John, I just have to check it in the mail.
Still looking?
Yes, ma'am. Still looking.
Let me know when you find them. I have something else I want you to do.
I sure will, ma'am.
Great.
Terrorism can occur anywhere, at any time. If you work in an office, you're limited in the measures you can take to protect yourself. A lot depends on just thinking about what you're doing.
Hiya, sailor. What you doing for dinner? Sounds like a nice place. They have candlelight and soft music. You're on. You picking me up? You're terrible. Great. Same time, same place? Me too. Bye.
Whenever you drive, you're especially vulnerable to a terrorist attack. So keep your car well maintained and don't go out alone.
How you doing? Couple oranges. Yeah, 3.
Even in apparently safe situations, always be on guard to the possibility of surveillance.
It's okay?
Yeah.
You want a bag?
No.
Oh, okay.
How much?
4 pesos.
Is that enough?
Sí, gracias.
Thanks.
Okay. Adios.
Try not to take roads frequently traveled by military personnel.
All right, down here, what you want to do is check out the whole vehicle very carefully. Because a lot of times, if someone's left a bomb, things just don't look right. A bomb? Check the hood. Make sure it's still closed, doesn't look like it's been tampered with. Check the doors, make sure they're the way you left them. Do the same with the gas cap, the trunk. Look inside real carefully. There can't be any suspicious objects or wires in there either. Now, before you get in, check underneath. If anything's hanging down or things don't look right, forget about it. Doesn't harm. The idea is to get away alive, no matter what they throw at you. Well, what if we're followed? Well, if you can, you try to get to what they call a safe haven. Like your own installation or maybe a civilian police station. Yeah, but what if they're right on us? Nothing to it. Go around the block. Try to shake them. Then you head for that safe haven again. Yeah, but what if they try to cut us off? Hit the brakes. Put it in reverse. Fake them out of their socks. Great! Put a few cars between you and the bad guys and keep on
Just like in the States, your home is the place where you feel most secure. But you're only safe if you take the same precautions you'd take anywhere.
I hate these late night shifts.
Me too. Oh, will you check on Emily for me?
Okay.
Certainly, old lady.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I bake some bread. For you.
Oh, thank you.
Wine?
Oh.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Oh, thank you very much. What's your name?
Anna Maria Livon.
Oh, I'm Barbara.
Barbara.
Yes.
Hollywood?
No, I'm from Waukegan, Illinois.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Husband, armed forces?
Yes.
Good night, baby. See you in the morning.
For the little girl.
Oh.
What you call?
Sucker.
No. A lollipop.
Right. Well, thank you very much.
Yes. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye-bye. That's wonderful. Oh. Hi. Guess what just happened? Most wonderful lady just came by with a welcoming gift. Yeah, she brought me bread, wine, and all. A little gift for Emily, a little sucker. Bye, honey. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you, babe. Tomorrow.
I love you. Oh, Greg just went to work. Anyway, it just made my day.
Overseas, U.S. military personnel are always easy to spot. But don't make it easier. Maintain a low profile. There's no need to advertise.
Look, I was showing off back there. Yeah. You don't need to do that. The important thing is to move when something doesn't look right. You don't need fancy driving tricks.
Okay. You need a lift?
No, I'm catching a bus down there.
All right, see you tomorrow, Mitchell.
All right, tomorrow.
Sure hope that heater works.
What do you think? God, she's gorgeous. That's not what I meant. Maybe you're right. Let's get the hell out of here.
Everything you've just seen is based on fact, but it didn't have to happen. Gunnery Sergeant Mike Hernandez and Corporal Jim Myers remained alert when driving, but they forgot to stay alert when they encountered something unusual. If they'd reacted more quickly, they could have gotten out of the kill zone.
What do you think? I don't know. I don't like it. Yeah, I think you're right.
Working in an office presented different problems for Lieutenant Kathy Riley. She was careful to work away from a window, but she got into a routine.
Same time, same place. Hi, honey.
If she hadn't been predictable, she never would have become a target. Sergeant Brian Mitchell knew all about evasive driving techniques, but he forgot to remain alert. If he'd remained on guard in that crowded bus stop, he could have survived.
Grenade!
And Captain Greg Taylor? He kept his house well secured, but forgot about his car. If he'd remembered that his car could easily become a trap, he would have lived to enjoy another day.
What? Huh.
Terrorism is a real danger, and that fact isn't going to change. So be alert.
Ready? Aim! Fire!
Maintain low visibility.
Aim! Fire!
And don't be predictable.
Aim! Fire!
You can survive the daily threat of terrorism by taking a few common sense precautions so that you simply never become a target.
On behalf of a grateful nation, this flag is offered as a token of appreciation for the distinguished service of your beloved one.
I like that film. It's a cautionary tale, but it also has these short little vignettes about where they went wrong. It's like a really good work safety film or safety film where you see what leads up to the catastrophe or what led to their fatality or injury. So very much part of a genre. Thank you, William, for coffee. You can donate coffee here. AV Geeks lives off of coffee, so thank you for that. You can also hit like, subscribe, thumbs up, however you're watching us. If you want to tell the platform that you're watching us on that you like what we do, please do that. All right, so next we're going to go bounce back to actually watching a film. This one is Stumble Bumps, and it's animated, so I'll give you a little break. Stumble Bumps. I don't know what this film's about. Stumble Bumps. Stumble Bumps.
In Professor Balthazar's town lived the clumsiest man in the world. His name was Bumple. His politeness was clumsy. And his apologies even clumsier. Bumple liked to play the trumpet at home. And he played it very well. He also liked to dance, which he didn't do quite so well. And to make matters worse, his neighbors weren't musically inclined. Once, Bumple decided to learn how to dance and enrolled in a dancing class. However, Bumple was employed at a soap factory. Even here, his clumsiness was apparent and well known. But too much is too much. Bumple was left jobless. His only consolation was his trumpet. But his happiness didn't last long. It was only far away from people that Bumple could give expression to his sorrow. He played so beautifully that without realizing it, he drew a crowd. At first, Bumple was a bit frightened. But he quickly adjusted to the audience. This time, the clumsiness was mutual, but all in good fun. And so a new friendship was born. However, all this didn't solve Bumple's main problem. He was still without a job. It was then that he met Professor Balthazar. The professor thought, and thought, and thought, and then hit upon an idea. He invented shoes for Bumple. Not ordinary ones, however. These were skill shoes. Bumple was in ecstasy. The very next day, Bumple was given a job delivering porcelain china. And how he did it. But in the evening, when he removed his shoes, he was good old clumsy Bumple again. There was no alternative but for him to sleep with his shoes on. The next day, he brought the professor to the woods and introduced him to his friends. There, Bumple deliberately took off his shoes and remained barefoot and clumsy. This was really fun. And with this kind of entertainment, it's clumsiness which gives it its charm.
Yeah, so International Film Bureau was a film company that not only made their own films, but they also distributed a lot of foreign films and animation over the years. And so that was from Zagreb, if that's how you pronounce it, which is Croatian, part of the former Yugoslavia. And I met some Croats when I spent 2 weeks in Albania, helping them with the National Archive there. Yeah, that was hip. The music was really great. And I'm sure it was dubbed over in a new language for British and American audiences. But yeah, we love it. It's time to watch a film. I said thank you to William for coffee. Also, I was sharing some information about my Impress, which is now called Press, made by Bobble. You can get it on Amazon and other places. It's I've had it for 7 years, and I've used it almost every day. Very much love it. All right, this film is about houseflies, so enjoy.
Musca domestica. These Latin words are the scientific name for one of the most dangerous insect pests known to man. The common housefly, as its name implies, plagues the households of mankind around the world. It cannot bite or sting, but its physical structure and feeding habits make it a carrier of disease and death. It spreads the organisms that cause typhoid fever, dysentery, tuberculosis, leprosy, hookworm, cholera, diarrhea, anthrax, gangrene, and numerous other painful diseases and parasites that inflict suffering and death upon mankind. If the housefly were not such a restless explorer of everything in sight, it would not be such a dangerous pest, but it is equally at home as it visits back and forth between surroundings of finery and places of filth. Before arriving in this spotlessly clean kitchen, flies may visit along the way such places as an unsanitary privy, a decaying animal carcass, or an open dump, where disease germs thrive in trash and garbage. Tests have proven that flies from a dump such as this are capable of flying as far as 20 miles away to alight, perhaps, on baby's birthday cake. And while baby may find swatting at flies an amusing part of the celebration, these germ-laden flies may bring her the unwanted gift of a bad tummy ache. The two main factors which make the housefly such a menace to human health are its structural characteristics and its rapid rate of reproduction. First, let's consider some of the important structural features of the housefly. It is a true insect. It belongs to the order of insects named Diptera, which means two-winged. Its two transparent wings fold back to give it a triangular appearance when not flying. Bristle-like hairs cover parts of the fly's body. These hairs are one of the means by which the fly picks up and transports millions of disease germs as it visits sources of contamination. Being a true insect, the housefly has three distinct body parts: a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. The head bears the eyes, antennae, and mouth parts, or proboscis. The surface of each of the large compound eyes is divided into approximately 4,000 facets or individual lenses. The eyes of the male housefly are spaced closer together than those of the female. Between its compound eyes, the housefly also has three ocelli or simple eyes. But in spite of this elaborate equipment for seeing, the housefly depends mainly on its highly sensitive antennae in detecting odors which are attractive to it. The interesting feeding organ or proboscis can be retracted almost completely into the head when not extended for feeding. The end of the proboscis is a spongy, heart-shaped structure composed of two lips or labella, which the fly presses against any substance upon which it desires to feed. Disease germs and parasites may adhere to the labella as the fly feeds. They may then be carried to the next place the fly visits and deposited as the fly tastes or feeds on the new substance. The wings and legs of the fly, located on the thorax, provide excellent locomotion for the fly in its incessant explorations. Both wings and legs, in contacting filth, become important factors in the disease-spreading activity of the fly. Each of the fly's feet is equipped with a pair of claws which are used for clinging to rough surfaces. Some segments of the legs and feet are sensitive to taste. On each foot, we see from beneath a light-colored structure. These are the pulvilli. The pulvilli have the special function of making the fly's feet stick to smooth surfaces. Thus, the fly can walk upside down on the ceiling or climb walls with ease. This feature, although helpful to the fly, makes the fly a more dangerous transmitter of disease, since its sticky feet pick up germs and parasites and distribute them everywhere the fly walks. Here we are letting a fly walk across a specially prepared gelatin plate. This fly's feet are scattering the spores of a fungus picked up from some surface on which it has walked. Under the microscope a few days later, we can see the rapidly developing fungus as a mass of thread-like branches. Disease germs are spread and multiply in the same manner. The housefly's respiratory and digestive systems extend through the thorax and the abdomen. The abdomen also encloses the reproductive system. Breathing is accomplished through holes or pores called spiracles in the body wall. The feeding and digestive systems of the fly add still another manner in which the fly spreads disease. Here we have an animated diagram to give us an idea of how the digestive system functions. When necessary, the fly pumps saliva from its salivary glands onto its food to help soften it. Oftentimes, it also regurgitates partially digested food from its crop to help liquefy food it wishes to eat. The proboscis then sucks up the food, germs included, into the esophagus. The proventriculus directs the flow of food into the crop. Supposing this fly were to alight next on your strawberry sundae. The filthy germ-infested food in the fly would be regurgitated. The fly's feet would add more contamination. A single housefly has been known to carry over 6.5 million bacteria at one time. It becomes obvious why houseflies are such a health menace. After being pre-digested in the crop, the housefly passes its food a little at a time from the crop, and the proventriculus now opens the passageway to the stomach. As digestion is completed, the waste products are expelled through the digestive tract, still laden with the germs or parasites swallowed by the fly. The familiar fly specks are the regurgitations and feces of flies. Many of them may be deposited close together on surfaces frequently visited by flies. Houseflies lay their eggs anywhere they find the kind of media or food on which the fly larvae can feed when they hatch. An uncovered, dirty garbage can is an open invitation to breeding flies. Fly larvae or maggots are a common sight in unkempt garbage cans. Accumulations of animal refuse are also ideal breeding places for flies. Thousands of fly eggs may be laid in a manure pile within a few hours after the manure is dumped. Here you see masses of the tiny white fly eggs. The heat given off by the decaying refuse helps to incubate the eggs. The female fly has a long tube or ovipositor through which the eggs are laid. A single housefly lays an average of 100 to 150 eggs at a time, and may lay up to 7 batches of eggs in an average lifetime of 2 or 3 weeks. The pearly white eggs are so tiny that 150 of them can rest on a pencil point. In warm weather, the eggs usually hatch within 8 to 24 hours. A slit appears in one end of the egg, and the tiny white legless larva or maggot wriggles out of the egg case. The maggots immediately commence feeding on the decaying food matter in which they find themselves. Within an average of 5 to 14 days in temperate zones, they will be full-grown larvae. While they are growing, they go through 3 distinct larval stages called instars. At the end of each of the first 2 stages, or instars, the maggot molts its skin. When ready to molt, the old skin breaks open at the head or pointed end and slips off as the maggot crawls away. The maggot has hook-shaped mouth parts for feeding and to help it crawl. We have placed the maggot on this stick to see the crawling action more clearly. And now let's watch this action in slow motion. The maggot extends its body forward, anchors its hook-shaped mouth parts, and by muscular contraction pulls its body forward. Maggots have no antennae or eyes, but they are sensitive to light rays, and they immediately seek to find cover when exposed to light. The black dots on the tail end are spiracles through which the maggots breathe. When fully grown, the maggots reach a length of 1/3 to 1/2 an inch. Soon thereafter, they move to a nearby drier area to pupate. Here, the last skin of the maggot shrivels up and becomes the brown, seed-like protective coat of the pupa. We will now see, by time-lapse photography, how the color of the pupa changes. In summer temperatures, the pupal stage lasts an average of 5 days. Larvae, which pupate in late fall, may remain in the pupal stage until the following spring. When the transformation from larva to fly has been completed, the fly pushes off the end of the pupal case. Here we see flies breaking out of their pupal cases, aided by their expanders. The expander is a sac located on the head of the fly. When it is time for the fly to emerge, body juices inflate this sac, causing the pupal case to split open. When the fly's head is free, it struggles out of its pupal case. Sometimes the emerging flies find it necessary to work their way up through debris, such as leaves, manure, or sand that has covered them during the pupation period. The fly's expander sac then comes in very handy. By alternate expansion and contraction of the sac, the fly is able to open a passageway ahead of itself, and with the aid of its legs, it can escape to the surface. After the fly emerges from its pupal case, its exoskeleton hardens. Body juices flow into the wings to expand them. The transparent wings stiffen as they dry. The fly's various body parts take on their characteristic coloration. The fly's expander disappears, being withdrawn into the head, never to be seen or used again. Now, a new generation of flies is ready to carry on the spread of filth and disease. Not too many flies heed that age-old invitation, "Come into my parlor," said the spider to the fly. Since there are not sufficient natural controls to effectively reduce the fly population, man must assume the responsibility for stopping this notorious public health enemy from wandering at will in our communities. But swatting flies one by one while millions of new ones are hatching will never begin to solve the fly problem. Insecticide sprays, though they are a great help in killing flies, are only a part of an adequate control program. Research laboratories are constantly seeking for new methods and insecticides to control houseflies. This entomologist is using nuclear equipment to test the food preferences of flies. But sanitation is the only sure cure for the housefly menace. And sanitation begins at home, each citizen's home, and with each citizen's personal habits of cleanliness. While this housewife properly maintains a high standard of cleanliness, she may still be plagued by the flies which are bred in the filth of a distant neighborhood, or a farm where sanitation is not practiced. These flies represent not only a potential danger to human health for miles around, but to the livestock on this and surrounding farms as well. Flies transmit a number of diseases and parasites from infected animals to healthy ones. Thus, it is obvious that a serious and far-reaching community responsibility rests upon each citizen to practice good sanitation habits. For example, to keep the fly population down, poison bait is regularly distributed around this dairy barn. And, of course, there is no excuse for anyone helping to create such an unsightly and unsanitary mess as this roadside dump. All waste products should be completely burned or buried. In the city, disposal of waste products such as garbage, trash, and sewage becomes a costly operation. Most cities and towns have sanitation departments and modern facilities for proper waste disposal. After being collected in sanitary trucks, trash and garbage is transported to municipal dumps. In some cases, it is used as fill for low or swampy land areas. By being buried, it is not only out of the reach of flies, but it sometimes helps to reduce the cost of garbage collection through the increased value of the filled land. Some municipalities consume garbage in huge incinerators. In most areas, treatment plants process and sterilize raw sewage before dumping it into our waters. This means cleaner lakes and streams, and in turn, cleaner recreational areas with fewer flies, less chance of disease, and better fishing, since raw sewage is as destructive to fish as it is attractive to flies. While civic sanitation agencies have made good progress in establishing fly control procedures, only the cooperative action of each individual can ensure final elimination of the health menace represented by this prolific pest.
So, I'm sorry and you're welcome. Yeah. Ugh. Flies. House flies. Gross. Absolutely gross. I actually hosted our local state science museum. We have a monthly film screening, and I hosted The Fly, the Jeff Goldblum 80s version. And you maybe have seen me wore my mask earlier last week or some point last week. But yeah, so we showed that film as a kind of an intro. Flies, man. Ugh, gross. So, happy Wednesday! Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Jason, thank you so much for the coffee. It's a great way to say thank you, AV Geeks, is by stimulating our nervous systems with copious amounts of caffeine. Another way is to press like and subscribe, or go to avgeeks.com. We have DVDs for sale there, but we also have stuff you can watch and you can share. And that's really the thing, is if we can grow the number of people that watch this based on your friends and family, well, I don't know what will happen if we do that. But it's always nice to have more people kind of hanging out. You know, when I did shows locally, I'd get like 30, 40 people. And so it's nice to see that I get that many on YouTube and that many on Facebook. And then I get some on Twitch and Twitter and all that stuff. So it's great. And I very much appreciate you guys tuning in. Gives me something to look forward to every day. Grossing you out with films about flies. So tomorrow, 1 o'clock, we will see you, everybody. As the inside of the film can says, please rewind and love each other. And we will see you soon. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of your friends. Check in with your friends and family that you haven't heard from for a while. They might need somebody to check in with them. It's kind of something important to be doing nowadays. But take care, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.